into going and seeing Superbad and literally said it was the best movie, funniest movie ever made. So Carrie and I go to see it, and we're like 20 minutes into it. Carrie looks at me and she goes, "I can't do this, Tom. I can't do this." So
That movie's so
I had to see,
funny.
I had to get Superbad on DVD. So
Yeah, I've not seen that either.
You wouldn't
yeah,
like it.
you wouldn't like it either. What's happening, Tony? Got the new listing up in Belton that I see?
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
be a
nice
good
little
one.
house.
Should be a good one. I'll take everything I can get in that 250 to 350 sweet spot,
Well, let's get out
unless it's a
there and
piece of
see it.
crap. Unless it's a piece of crap.
Yep, they kept it nice. Got nice cathedral ceilings. They put another full bathroom, bedroom, and family room in the basement. So nice house.
Yeah, sounds good. I'm going to stall here for just a little bit. See if we can get. Where's our illustrious leaders at? Lonnie and Brandy. Uh, no Finn presence.
They're all here. I know both the Finns are here, but
Eh.
Ryan was about to present some offers. Saw
Uh,
Brandy just a second ago.
okay. Brandy's here.
I'm here
That's a win.
finishing my breakfast, but
Ah, okay. The list of topics. Well, we'll see how it goes.
the cool kids are here. We know that.
That's it. Okay. Hey, so I want to start out with a topic of relationships with other agents, co-oping agents, and I guess this is kind of inspired by a story I recently heard about how one of our newer agents was treated on a disrespectful level by a seasoned agent, and that really didn't set very well with me. And that's why I say I know that we're family here, because if you kind of pick on one of our other agents, you probably make me not want to do business with you. So I want to tell you kind of like with me when I'm working with another agent, and I'm only 6 years into this business. And so I was a new agent not too long ago, right? Now, with me, I made sure I had a good supporting cast. I was on the S&P real estate team. We had Carrie Underwood over there with the transaction coordinator, who there's no better than that. So I didn't get myself in trouble, right? So I had a good supporting cast, but I didn't know everything, and I did do some things wrong, probably quite a few things. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything wrong, but I didn't. So, so I look at that from that perspective, and now I'm a little bit in. I feel like I'm a good student of the game, and occasionally I get an agent on the other side who is the newer agent or maybe not as trained of an agent or whatever, and I have to deal with that, right? So I go into every real estate transaction wanting the other agent to do a transaction with me the next time. I want that to be when they see my name come up in a multiple offer situation, I wanted them to think, yeah, I did business with that guy and it was good, right? I want to get the nudge, right? From that. So that's how I go into it when I'm talking to other agents, try to make the connections. Yeah, some of them just want to be transactional. That's good. Just make sure I'm on top of my game transaction wise and that. And, some of them I've been able to develop relationships with. So I feel like when I run across somebody that maybe has less experience, um, it's okay for me. Like, I want to be helpful. I don't want to be detrimental. I want to be helpful. So how can I find ways to help? And not a lot of people are going to say, "Oh, Tom, I'm a new agent. I need help," because we're all trying to cover up the fact that we're a new agent, right? So we're not that. So I guess I just try to be, and I know if I have somebody like that, I probably need to be a little bit more on my toes, be double checking some things, and that type of stuff. But I'll tell you a story, this is a good example, is I had a difficult property, which I got an unbelievable deal under contract, going to pay me $37,000 it was, right? And all the way to 1 week before the finish line, and I found out information that was going to make it not close, right? So prior to that closing coming up, I had reached out to that agent on it multiple times, and he was vacationing in Japan, right? And so I was getting these really brief responses, right? No really updates, that. Well, he gets back in town, he's back in town 2 days, tell me the deal blows up, right? I'm Irish. Irish temper is a real thing, right? But I didn't. I was mad. I was boiling mad inside, right? But I basically stepped away and said, hey, I need to process this for a minute. Let me call you back. So I took some time. I wasn't mad. I called back. So fast forward, I kind of let him know how I felt a little bit. The short notice was hurtful. My clients are disappointed, all of that, but I was very nice about it. So fast forward, I put part of the deal back together with this agent. And then also the other thing about the agent, I found out he's kind of a big shot, right? Probably not in our world, but business acquisitions, land sales, all of that. This guy has become one of my biggest teachers in the business. Like I call him all the time when I have questions about stuff. I'm representing a seller in a business acquisition right now, right? This guy's been he's been invaluable to me in helping get this done. And if I would have went off on him when the deal fell apart, I don't have that in my life, right? So I guess to me, it's important how I interact with the other agents, and to be a professional. We never have the right to shame anybody ever for anything, including outside real estate. We don't have that right. Yes, we can get mad. Yes, we can show disappointment and frustration, but I think it's very important to have some empathy and know that Lonnie Branson was a new agent at one point. Ryan Finn was a new agent at one point, right? Everybody started out, and I bet if you ask those guys, Ryan loves to share the stories about his incompetency. Sorry, Ryan. But so let's keep that in mind as we're moving forward. Let's be the coaches. Let's be the people that help. Anyway, anybody got anything on that?
I would just say a big amen to that, Tom. I'm with you. I'm right behind you on that for sure. I hate to see our new agents that, push past their comfort zones, put themselves out there, and then get bit at or chewed up by another, like you said, seasoned agent in the business. That's unfortunate. I'm glad that doesn't happen to everybody, but we've met that agent. We've met those people that talk to people like that. They think they're big stuff, and good for them. But I'm with you, Tom. We do have to work with these people again. We do have to, get along. We get along. And what it boils down to me, when somebody is kind of nipping at me and biting at me and being short and a little bit ugly with me as another agent, I'm always like, hold on, wait. You have a client that wants to sell. I have a client that wants to buy. Can we not put our heads together? We're on the same team here. We're working for the same goal. I'm not your enemy. My clients aren't your enemy. Can we be professionals and think our way through this thing? And then usually that changes things. If I remind them, I'm not your enemy. If you don't have us, you're going to go look for someone else. So
Very good.
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing that up because it is important.
Well, it's important all the way around. And again, like I said, my whole goal is for that agent to want to do business with me again, right? Because we don't know, so, okay.
I have something to throw in with that.
Yes.
I have a client purchasing a home, and the agent is also the seller, and she's never done a deal here. They moved here, she got her licenses, joined Wycart, and never did a deal in 2 years. So she has no clue what she's doing. And I was waiting on the contract, and so I messaged her, and she said, Shelby, I don't know how to do the signatures in dot loop. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, we are at a get together. And if your transaction coordinator can't help you by the time we leave, I'll just come to Harrisonville and I'll just help you with it. And she was like, really? And I said, well, yeah, well, duh. I want you to sign the contract. Like,
Yep.
I didn't say that, but yeah, I want that contract signed as soon as possible in a multiple offer situation. Yes, sign it. And so her TC was able to help her. But yesterday we were there for the septic inspection, and she said to my clients, I was so grateful. Shelby's so easy to work with, and she helps, explain stuff. And because she had some questions about the forms, and she'd done business in Hawaii for a long time, and their protocols are different than ours. So when my people showed up for inspections, she was said, are they all coming in my house? And I said, yes. I sent an email about it, like what needed to happen, what was to be expected, and she replied yes. And I guess in Hawaii, the people don't show up until the very end and then go through. But I always have my buyers there the whole time. That way, if they have any questions, because it's the only time they have in the house. So I want them to look through and check everything and measure and take pictures and do whatever they want to do because it's the only time they get in there before closing. And she said, oh, that's very different than what we did in Hawaii, but they're moving out of state. And I said, well, we could still be referral partners, and any friends that you've made here, I'll take care of them. And then wherever you land, I'll send my people to you. And it's working out. But yeah, just giving a little bit of helpfulness goes a really long ways for people because there's so many good agents in our area that just need a little bit of help. And I straight up said, I wish you would have came to Southland. You would have loved it. But it's too late now. So, but yeah, good share, Tom. Always take good care of the other party because you don't know who their brokerage is and what kind of help they're getting.
Absolutely.
Hey, Tom, I think I got something that is related to that too. Good morning, everyone. My name is Alex, just in case you don't know, I'm not around the office that much, but
We know you, Alex.
I don't know if all of you saw the question that I posted on the group the other day about inspections. If we are obligated to submit all inspections that are done to the house by my client, which we did. At the end, Shelby said, Darren says, always do it. So I did. And then Lonnie answered back that we do that too. My question was, actually, I was thinking more like, okay, so my client pay for the inspections, right? If we have any issue with, let's say, with the house, not sewer or termites, what am I supposed to submit the other two where there's no issues with it? So anyway, I did submit all three of them. They didn't. My client asked to get all the stuff repaired, which they didn't, right? And the lady goes like, the other agent is like, well, we have a backup offer, and if you don't want it, your client doesn't want it, we're gonna move forward to the next one. And I said, okay. So I talked to my client. My client said, nope, it's okay, let it go. Which I did. She sent the cancellation. She actually was in a hurry. She sent the cancellation notice. We've signed it. Blah blah blah. So I was curious yesterday, and I go into the MLS to see if the house is already impending or whatever. But it's been taken off the market. And on the comments on the page, it says coming back soon with the new and improved stuff, right? But down below where it says private remarks, it says coming back to market ASAP. First time buyers got cold feet. Inspections are done and look great. Reach out for a report and list of items sellers handle, updated sellers disclosure, blah, blah, blah. So they're going to replace the carpet that my client was asking for. And they're going to do some of the repairs, I'm assuming, that my client found on the report. So I'm like, you know what? I got this sour feeling that like she wasn't really being a good agent. Because my client didn't get cold feet. They didn't want a house because they said, no, we're not going to fix anything. Now they took it off the market and they're fixing this stuff that the report says, I'm assuming most of it, including the carpet, because it's new carpet. And I'm like, I don't think that it's a honorable thing to do. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if anyone feels like that,
Have
but
you,
that's what I feel.
what I would do if I were you, I would actually reach out to that agent and ask that exact question. Say, hey, just out of curiosity, we noticed this has been now temporary off market, and it looks like you're pursuing a path that was very similar to what we proposed. Is there something I'm missing? And
Correct.
just listen. See what that
I
has to say.
think that,
And you'll get a lot of all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
By the way, listing agents will say buyer got cold feet all the time. So that's not uncommon because they know that everyone's going to scrutinize the fact that it was under contract, went through inspections, and the deal flipped. So usually it's no fault of seller, buyer got cold feet, all of those kind of things.
okay. All right.
That's the question. I'd love to know the answer.
Okay, I will call it today. Thank you, Lonnie.
It's not one of our
Hey.
agents, right?
I'm sorry.
Hey, Alex, does your client still want the house?
No, I haven't not even told him. I'm afraid to tell.
Yeah.
It's going.
Yeah.
We're already looking into other houses. He sent me a list of houses that we're looking into tomorrow, and I don't know if I should even mention it to him. I'm like, I don't think it's worth it. I didn't know if it was okay for me to call the other agent and ask questions because I'm like, I don't want to start something that might end up later on a bigger deal that it's
Yeah.
not.
Let me ask you a question. On your original ask, when you did the inspections and you asked for things repaired, what was it, a bunch of stuff, a couple of items?
Well, it was all the most of all the, I would say 99% of the outlets were loose and they were cracked, and some of them, some didn't have GFIs. So my client asked for everything to get repaired. Carpet, it was in bad shape. He asked for the carpet to be repaired too, or replaced, I'm sorry. And some of the cosmetic stuff, which I advised them. I said, look, the more we put on the list, the less likely they're going to be wanting to do it. Let's just look for the bigger stuff, the most, let's call it the safety stuff. And he goes like, no, I want everything done. I said, okay, I mean, you're my boss and I'll do whatever you ask me to do, which ended up in the cancellation.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, sometimes we got to let our buyers, that can hurt us a little bit. We got to pick our battles, right?
Correct.
So I've been known to respond when somebody sends me back a resolution that includes every red check mark on the inspection report with the simple words of, this is not going to work. And then you leave it at that, right?
Yeah.
And then I get the phone call like, well, they won't do anything? It's like, well, no, we might do some stuff. We just aren't doing all of that, right?
Correct. Correct.
And then it starts a reasonable conversation. So, but anyway, anybody else have anything to add on that? All right. Well, that was good. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I actually ran into this past week with the no fault to seller. We had a contract fall through, and my seller asked me to put no fault to seller in the remarks. And I told him, I don't want to get sued if the buyer comes after me because said it wasn't no fault to seller, but they felt like it was, and they really pushed it. It's kind of interesting. So it's the first time I ran into that because they're like, put no fault to seller in there. I'm like, it's kind of the seller's fault. So I struggled with that. It's my first time running into it and not being able to post it in good conscience. So
Thank you, Josh. Okay. So I'll move into the next topic. And well, I have two, and I'm trying to decide which one to go to yet. All right, I'm going to go into this one. I heard the other day, maybe a little backstory. I've been suffering from some burnout, right? So I've probably got myself involved in a lot of different things that are sucking up a lot of my time. And then my real estate business got busy, ran across a couple of great flip opportunities. Money-wise, things have never been better in my life, but all of my energy has been drained, right? And like literally to where I got to take days off just to not do anything some days. And I can see that in this business that that could be a reoccurring thing, right? So anyway, I was kind of diving in and I was listening to a podcast, and it said that the most successful people say no to almost everything, and they only say yes to what is important, right? So sometimes I think I become overwhelmed with feeling like I have all of these obligations where they're obligations that I create on my own by my ability not to say no, right? My inability to say no, right? So I've been thinking about that quite a bit. And uh, so because to be honest with you, the on paper it looks great, but it's been tough, right? And I think all of us can say this has been a little bit tougher year. Everybody seems not to be as nice as they used to be in that, but you know, and I feel like at some point I also hold too much responsibility for both sides of the transaction, right? So those are things that I'm kind of working on. But that really stuck with me. The most successful people say no to almost everything, right? And only yes to what is important. So I like that. Any input on that? No? Good.
Yeah, I mean, burnout's just normal. I mean, we all go through highs and lows, whether it's because we're so busy or we get just frustrated because we don't have enough business. But that's a natural ebb and flow of a business owner in real estate. So we just have to know there's some peaks and valleys that are just kind of part of the journey. I would say this. I think a lot of people they maybe have steeper peaks and valleys because they kind of run their business on an island by themselves. They isolate too much. We have some really successful agents that, you know, I think if they could engage and spend more time around other people going through the same nonsense they're going through, you know, I get kicked in the gut all the time. Nanette gets kicked in the gut all the time. If you're around people and having conversations, you realize you're not alone. If you choose to work from home and maybe come to a team meeting once a month and the occasional mastermind call, it's got to feel pretty lonely out there. But I think if you leverage what we have, the energy of our other agents, whether that's spending some time in the office or having office space, whatever, you will see very quickly that you're not alone. And to me, it's easier to overcome challenges when I realize other people are taking on the same challenges. And whether it's, you know, just thinking of Sandy, Shelby, Nanette, just different people we've mastermind around just challenges in the last 30 days. And I'm probably forgetting another 10. But those people have somebody to kind of interact with. And I think we would serve ourselves well to spend more time around each other that are going through the same.
100% Lonnie. Yes, misery loves company. No, not quite like that. But yes, for me to know that I'm not the only one going through it. And when I share an experience and the other agent looks at me in the eyes and like we immediately connect, yes, I know what you're talking about exactly. That helps me to move forward a lot of times, knowing it's just not me. Because what do I do? I'm not going to speak for everybody, but what do I do when something goes south? It's my first thought is, Tom didn't do a job right. Didn't do the job good enough. Wasn't on top of it like I should have. And then I feel like I'm a failure as an agent, right? But when I know that other, especially top performing agents, have the same struggles, it allows me to go and say, to give them some grace, right? All right, you get some grace. You can't control everything. You can't control emotions. You can't control everything that the other agent does, the buyers do, the sellers do, and to be able to give myself that grace, knowing that I'm not the only one. So really good.
Well,
Okay.
Tom, I had to drive to Blue Springs this morning already and back, and I had a lot of windshield time. I like that. I like it, you know, just a little bit of a drive, be quiet, think. And my thoughts this morning were about our agents, about ourselves, about this industry. It takes a strong person to be an entrepreneur, to be a realtor, to go out and hunt and kill every day. And if you don't kill something, you don't eat. Your family doesn't eat. Like It's a lot to do that day after day after day after day. And so I was just thinking about, we do need to lots of thoughts, but we do need to do what you're saying here. Give yourself permission to say no. You don't have to take on everything. I think the Gen Xers in the group were taught like, hey, it's all on us. No one's coming for us. No one's, we got to be there. It's all begins and ends with me. Can't count on anybody else. And so I'll figure it out. And you just go about that every day. Well, there comes a point when we reach our capacity and we can't keep doing that. And it does turn into burnout, or sometimes people just go, what is all this for anyway? And then I even had one of our agents yesterday who saw that top 20%, and she's on the list. I will not name her, but she asked me, she said, are those in order? Like from first to 25th, like the top 20%, are they in order? And I said, yes, they are. And she said, oh, okay. I'm actually surprised at what number I am. And I said, absolutely. I said, you are killing it. And she goes, her reply, I could always do better. And I said, hold on, wait, hold on. Celebrate the wins. You just were surprised that you were as high as you were in the company, and the next breath, I could do better. Give yourself some grace. Take care of you. We take care of everybody else. Why do we neglect ourselves? And I mentioned this, Tom, you were there yesterday at the ALC meeting. And I was talking about how life is a grand experiment. None of us have ever been where we are right now today. We're in a new territory with new skills, new experiences. Like we've never been, even if we have seen this thing before, yes, we can pull our experience over, but the variables are different. And so for us to expect to hit home runs every time, which a lot of us expect that of ourselves, if we do that, then Tom, we are going to feel like failures. And so it's about giving ourselves grace to go, you know what? I bombed that one. I totally dropped the ball, but you know what? I did give it my best shot, or I did the best I could with what I had at the time. And then give yourself grace and go, I'm going to try it again next time, So I appreciate you bringing it up, because I think I've had conversations with some of our agents. Mental health. I mean, I've never been a real big mental health person. That was never talked about growing up, for me or my family. And, but I think it's a real thing that we got to maybe take some time to take some, put some attention on. Take care of us as we take care of everybody else.
Absolutely. Thank you, Brandy. That's great. Anybody else?
I have a quick thing. Sorry. What podcast were you listening to, Tom?
Well, my main podcast that I listen to is Ed Milet, that Brandy got me hooked on, the book in that. So I always go to that. The other podcast that I listen to, because it's more real estate related, is the Brian Buffini show. His is a little bit more of an advertisement for his business sometimes, but he does have some really good nuggets. Great way to get stats and that kind of thing. But I believe that where I got that quote, and I'm trying to think of the person he was interviewing, but yeah, it definitely stuck with me, because I typically listen to podcasts when I'm on the treadmill in the morning, and it was just one of those things that hit me, because I was feeling completely overwhelmed. I'm going to make more money this year probably than I've ever made in my life. And then I'm just completely overwhelmed, and I'm not feeling good about any of it, right? And because I always feel like I got this tug and this tug and this tug. And when I got into real estate, I've always been pretty community oriented, involved in the Chamber of Commerce. I've usually found a nonprofit that I like to support with my time, talents, and treasures. So one of the things I did when I got into real estate was, and plus it was COVID, so there wasn't a lot of things to do, as I found myself on quite a few boards, right? And getting asked to be on a board of directors isn't always like it is kind of an honor, but occasionally it's because we can't find anybody else and we want you, right? And I tend to be the kind of person that when I get involved in something, I'm going to bring value to it one way or another, right? I'm just not going to sit on the board for the title, show up to the meetings. I'm going to be an actively part of what that is. And there's some things that are important to me. Right now, the biggest thing I got going on, well, here, I'm going to move this. I'm going to move into the next topic, and maybe this will come up. Okay. According to my news feed, my social media news feed, there's no way I'm going to be able to stay in the real estate business if I do not make videos. Done. Can't do it. New age. Can't do it. Tom, you're it. You're out. Obsolete. Can't make videos. So here's my windshield time, Brandy, was really because here's what I think real estate is. Talking to people. The videos, I need, if I want to grow my business, I need to find a way to talk to more people, right? That's it. And if I want to grow it even more than that, I need to talk to more people, right? So Tom O'Connor is probably never going to make a video, right? Never. I mean, maybe I did. Maybe you'll see one out there someday, but I'm not doing it, right? But what I am doing is networking in circles with people who can send me business, right? So I started a group called Cass County Professionals in Aging. We have 20 to 30 people regularly attend it. And so far, the group was 1 year old in July. Carrie and I looked at it. We made $60,000 from doing business with people in that group or them sending us business, right? Okay. So what happens from that group? I get introduced to other groups that elder law attorneys go to and to other things, and I get hooked up with CPAs. So, you know what? I'm just not going to sit at home and hope business comes to me. I'm not going to do the video, right? Probably not doing it unless, I don't know. Who knows? Never say never. But what I am going to continue to do is find a way to talk to people that can send me business. So there you go. No, shaking heads.
I love the idea of doing both. If I had my option, it would be the face-to-face, belly-to-belly, priority one, but also incorporating video and some of the things that people are moving the needle with, especially because it doesn't cost anything. I love things that can move the needle that I don't have to write big checks for.
They are, Lonnie, but I tell you, every time the subject comes up or the reel comes up, if you're not doing the video and we talk about it, we talked about it at ALC, I just want to know, and you don't need to raise your hand, but does that anybody else get anxiety when we start talking about we need to do this, do this, do this? It does. It creates it because I don't know. I got a face for radio, right? So I don't know that video is what, I'm not really feeling the video, right? I'm not really feeling, I don't like the way my voice sounds on recorder. I don't like all of that. So,
all right,
anyway.
Tom, I'm going to speak up.
Yes, I know.
Video, people, do you meet people in person?
I meet people in person every day.
And they see your face in person. Is it any different than it would be on video?
They do, and sometimes they laugh at it, but I'm past that.
Right. Well, yeah.
Okay.
So, but the point is, they see your face already. So,
yes.
So and then video can talk to people at midnight when you're hopefully sleeping. So that's the compounding value of the video, which isn't for everybody. I'm not saying you got to do it. I'm just saying there's definitely value in it for the people who want to do it. And just like, I do networking and stuff as well, just like you. And there's value in both. But if someone can figure out whichever one works for them and just do it at a high level, that's awesome. And you're obviously doing the networking at a high level. You always have, as long as I've known you. And that's awesome. But video can certainly, once someone gets a good library of content out there, maybe it's about senior neighborhoods that someone can watch at midnight after they spend all day taking care of their mother who's not well, and they're sitting there watching a video and they learn about Tom because Tom's out there talking about a neighborhood or something. So, I mean, there's certainly ways where both can coexist and make someone's business thrive. So that's all I'm saying.
I'm gonna say there's a reason that State Farm has a commercial every 45 seconds. Yeah, I mean, it may be annoying, but it keeps us top of mind and it works. So, I mean, how many of our auto insurance agents came out to us and found us and all that stuff? I mean, maybe, but there's a
Who
lot of
wants an insurance guy named Jake,
to
though?
that too. You what?
Yeah, his
Who
name's
wants an
Jake.
insurance guy named Jake?
Yeah, I
He
know.
sounds
I'm worried.
hideous.
I'm
Yeah,
even
he's
wearing
weird.
khakis today. No, I'm with you, Tom. I sound like freaking Forrest Gump. Just got hit in the head too many times whenever I'm talking. But
No.
No,
people,
you don't.
I just kind of, I'm like, yeah, who cares? It's $10,000 if somebody calls me and I make a sale. People can laugh at my voice for 10 grand. They're
Well,
gonna laugh at your face anyways, Tom. Might as
you
well
know,
get
I
paid.
know.
a lot of
Yeah.
people put themselves down or say they have a face for radio type of mentality, and they're gonna, or they use the filters on their Instagram pages when they're an agent. It's like these people are gonna see you in person. You're not gonna see a filter. So,
Wear a
so,
Jason mask, and then
so
then you'd
be.
be known as the Jason guy.
That's the whole thing. It's just like be yourself wherever you are, whether it's Facebook or video or wherever. Just be you, and that's who people hopefully are going to hire. So that's my thought.
I think, is it
So,
kind of ironic that your video isn't on? I don't know.
so,
Just
so
kind of.
can
I'm
we
at Sam's
expect
Club right now, so
Jake to do his next house video as a Forrest Gump character?
Oh,
Should
Lord.
I? I don't even have to
Don't
ask
get
for that one. I just have to talk a little slower. Nailed it.
Tom, I'm with you in a lot of that. Even though I, in my previous life, did lots of recordings and different things, but they had a different kind of purpose. And I'm not saying I shouldn't be doing it, but it can't be cringeworthy. Like if it seems like it's so awkward for me, then because I've watched other people's videos, I'm like, oh, it's just kind of cringeworthy. So there has to be some sort of natural, even though we're stretching ourselves, it has to be some sort of natural. Like Brandy's are so cute and she's just it's very easy to watch. You're not kind of like hurting for her while she does it. But then other ones, sometimes I'm like, oh, sister, maybe this just isn't in your day. So I think you have to find where that, like, I have to have something that I really think I need to tell somebody that needs me to say it. Like, I have to, because my previous life, it was a lot of teaching and different things because I had something I knew they needed to know. And not that we don't have things that people need to know, but so do 1,000 other agents too. So I don't know. It's kind of almost. I haven't found that. I've done a few, but again, my daughter's like, maybe you should use a filter, mom, or have you tried a selfie stick instead of. So I think if it's cringeworthy, it's not helping my business. So until I can figure out that it doesn't make other people uncomfortable for me, I'm kind of doing more what you're doing.
When again, I'm not trying to talk anybody out of doing videos because some of you have the personality and it's a perfect fit for you, right? So I'm just saying for me, I don't see it coming down the road. Um, and obviously it can be very successful. The one thing I always say is if you do decide to start doing videos, you're probably not going to be very good in the beginning. So you need to keep doing videos until you are good at it, or the only videos out there are going to be the ones of you not being very good. So it's kind of like once you start, you got to stick with it and keep it going. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, what about
Just
this, Tom? What about this? So, I could give you a list of 201 ways to lead generate, and making videos is one of the ways. Well, there's nobody on here that's going to do all 201 ways. So my recommendation as a coach and a business consultant would be to say, hey, let's pick your top three things. If making videos isn't your thing, then maybe double down on something else. Some people lead generate by sending out golden letters. Some people do open houses. But I'm with you, Tom, because I think when you started this whole topic, you said we were told if you're not making videos, you're going to be out of the business. Pretty much that's what we were told. I can't say
Mhm.
that I agree with that because if you look at our top 20%, there's a handful of people that make videos on a consistent basis, and there's a handful that don't. And so I think I don't know. I'm just giving the non-video people again. Maybe it's my day to champion the underdog in that, but just to go, hey, it's okay. Let's make a video. Let's try it. Let's put yourself out there. But if it's not your thing, then don't feel guilt and condemnation for that either. Do what you do and do it well. I like Lonnie's idea. Do both, if you can, go meet people face to face and make a video. I don't know, find your path, find your way and do what works for you.
Absolutely. Very good. Very good. Okay. Next one up, I need help with something.
Tom, by the way, it all comes down to the triangle, just so we're being clear.
Oh, the triangle. Yes.
We knew that was
Yeah.
coming.
I have one thing to add to your burnout thing, Tom, and it's something I heard from the Pivot Shift. Print out calendars for a year from now, put your vacations on them. So I actually did it. So we are not going to be 2 weeks from leaving on a trip. And then I'm like, oh, I need to get everything booked. Like, no, we're going. And so I think that will help all of us next year because I think we all have to schedule that away time. So thank you for bringing that up today.
Oh, thank you. No, I agree. I'm working on a lot of that time to not. I think one of the thing I think a lot of us are self-identified ADHD, and some of us self-medicate. No, maybe that's just me. Anyway, but AD, so and I do feel like I always tell everybody I'm a sprinter, right? When I was growing up, I was a sprinter. I ran the 200 and 400. Wasn't fast enough for the 100, but I was fast enough for those. So I sprint at everything that I do. But the problem is when you sprint all day long, your battery drains. So I'm learning to
Lose your
work
hair.
on that some too. What's that?
I said it makes you lose your hair.
And it'll make you lose your hair.
I'm sorry.
Exactly. No, it's okay. It's okay. So cool. All right. So here's the topic. Lonnie, I got my land deal put together out there on White Highway. Closing
Awesome.
on the 5 acres today, closing on the land the 11th. So I had the property split up. And when I got my settlement statement on the 5 acre part, the tax proration made sense. When I got my settlement statement on the land part, it was really high. So when I added the two numbers together, the tax proration to my client for both properties ended up being more than the total taxes for the entire year on the property. So talking to the title company, they say they can only use the information that they have available. There's no tax ID number yet on the 25 acre parcel that we split off. So that's why they have to use that number. So I feel like because it's like $2,400 on a piece of property that's probably going to be taxed at $200 a year or $500 a year because it's agriculture, and they have it at that because that's the only number they have. So should I reach out to the buyer's agent and come up with an agreement on what the proration should be? Like if I got the buyer's agent to agree to making it a $500, right? I don't want my seller to pay $2,500 on taxes because it's ridiculous. It's $2,000 more than it should be. So any advice?
I've done that before on those land deals. I just have a straight conversation with the agent, say, hey, the proration is 5 times what the actual tax amount is going to be. Taxes on it last year were $500. Are you guys good with last year plus 10%? And if they're reasonable, most of the time they're fine with that.
Okay.
But yeah, I've done that before.
Okay.
I think you'll have to just come up with an agreement in writing all parties sign off on, and I believe from there the title company can follow those instructions.
Okay.
Feel free to bounce that off them before you go through that rigmarole.
Right. In this particular case, since it was a 30 acre parcel now divided into a 5 and a 25, I don't have anything to go back and look at, but maybe I look at other 25 acre agricultural land parcels and see what that taxes are in Cass County and use something along that lines.
Yeah.
So,
we do that a lot on assessment years just because, like, what was it, 2 years ago? I mean, we were just writing those into the contract.
Well, that was my first thought, is that maybe we've hit the midpoint of the year and they're already doing something like that. So, and they're basing everything on sale price. But after talking to Lisa, that's not the case. So I'll talk to the buyer's agent, get an amendment put together where we agree on a certain tax proration and move on from there. So cool. All right. I need something, guys. That's all I got. 15 minutes. Lonnie,
Triangle? No.
triangle.
Yeah, we were talking about burnout earlier, and you know, the reality is what burns us out, in my opinion, especially if we're pretty busy, it's usually not the tasks and monitoring the transaction and all that. It's the freaking people. It's the person that is a pain in the ass. It's the one that kicked you in the gut and requested a cancellation. It's the people you thought were hiring you, they didn't. They went with Jenny because she did it for 1% or some shit like that. That's what just wears us out to me more than contract negotiations and inspection resolutions. I thrive in that, but it's just the batshit crazy people. And watching some of you guys, and I'm raising my hand because I'm dealing with a couple of those right now, but watching you go through that, sometimes the look on your face is like it just happens to you. And it's like, I'm sorry it happens to you, but it will continue to happen. It's just part of this business. So how you react to it's going to be the key. That's that mindset piece that I think we don't talk about it nearly enough. But at the end of the day, we've got to figure out how to just do one of these and move on. It's expensive to get stuck in a hole that some person puts you in because they treat you a certain way. And Scott Swaggart and Nathan Priest, I can go on and on. We all have these conversations around this. It happens to the top people in our industry. So it will happen to everybody. We just have to figure out how we're going to react to it. Anybody have anything to add?
Yeah. How do you do that?
Well, I know Brandy just said the thing that stuck in my mind more than anything I've heard this week is we've never been in this position before. Have I sold 1 million houses and all this? Yes. Have I worked with all these listings? Yes, but never at age 60. I've done it at different ages and different levels of expertise. And I have a different calmness now because I've been doing it longer. But what used to get me down 10 years ago just doesn't do it anymore. It almost bothers me more when one of you guys gets kicked and I see you just struggling and emotional. That almost bothers me more than anything. And I just kind of want to shake you and go, hey, this is going to happen again. Just get in here and be around people that are suffering the same way and watch them recover and watch us all kind of laugh our way past it, put our head back down and go grab $12,000 commissions, right? Let's go. But that can just absolutely kill you. I closed a deal yesterday with a seller that he was difficult. He's a car guy, owns a car, and I mean, way smarter than me. And I'm, gosh, why'd you hire me? I even asked him early on, you seem like you got this figured out. And it was that way the whole time. We sparred, and Amber's like, oh my gosh, this guy is just a pain in the ass. And he was. And he was at closing. By the way, his house went multiple offers, 12,000 above list, and he still wasn't happy. And it had no business appraising. The only reason it appraised is I knew the appraiser that I've known since 1995. And never was he going to give me any credit for all that. He was simply like, I told you that house would sell for more than you thought it would. And so at closing, I gave him the comps and I go, here's what we were up against. And I said, just know you should go to the casino tonight because you're really lucky. You just found $12,000 that you had a very low percentage of getting. And so I'd explain to him how the process works. And by the way, it didn't hurt that the appraiser is somebody I've known personally since 1995. So but the deal closed, we got paid, all that kind of stuff, hugged it out. Hey, he's in my database. He's in the triangle, bottom of it. But nonetheless, he hit a home run, grand slam home run. But the whole time it was like, it was a struggle, you know? And so if those things if you can't be pat on the back and get rewarded and feel good about, when do you get to in this racket? Then you got the person calling going, hey, I know we got a buyer's agency, but you guys don't have the time for me, blah, 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 and you were getting fired. So those happen too.
I always like to take it back to the circle of control and what can we control and what can we not. And that sometimes helps, not always, but sometimes it makes me feel a little better to go, hey, I'm happy with how I've handled myself. I can't control this client or this person. That doesn't make it easier all the time. But if you realize that person must be miserable, they're living in their head must be really, really miserable. And then it just becomes like, okay, let's just get through this conversation or this transaction. Let's just get through it and continue to control what I can control. And then everything else that's not in my control, I just have to like just kind of hand it off. Like I can't fix that. Yes, it lands in my lap sometimes, but I don't know if that makes anybody else feel better to go, hey, I'm proud of myself and how I handled myself. I'll give myself a pat on the back, even if that guy doesn't. And just go, wow, sucks to be you kind of thing. I won't say that out loud, but maybe in our triangle, Lonnie, is there like a closet we can stick them in? They're in the triangle, but let's stick them in the closet for a while.
Yeah, we'll call it the penalty box.
There we go.
Yeah.
I like it.
Or red card.
Mm-hmm.
Red
Yep.
card them.
I heard an agent on a podcast, imagine that, because that's all I listen to is real estate podcasts. And she said every time I deal with somebody that's just really difficult, at the end of the transaction, I go get myself a small little present, and that's my reward, my pat on my back. And I was like, oh, I do that too. That's a good way to keep motivated. Just a small, after you pay your tax accountant and all your stuff, do something nice for yourself, because yeah, they do wear us out, and the appreciation at the end, sometimes we do it for ourselves.
Yep.
Lonnie didn't mention on his deal with the most recent closing that probably the odds are he would not have gotten multiple offers if he would have listed it as high as he wanted to. Lonnie threw it out at market price, and that attracted all the attention. And then one offer came in and like, we'll pay 10 grand more or whatever it was. And that ended up getting it, but they may not have even looked at it at the higher list price, So that's always something we can say to people too, is you're going to attract a lot of attention and multiple offers. Sometimes buyers go crazy and they'll pay more.
Well, I even told the guy, I go, hey, how many times have you moved? And he goes, well, we've been married 29 years and we moved 4 times. I go, 4? Wow, that's awesome. I go, I think I've handled 2,200 of these. So should we go with my opinion or yours? And he starts laughing. And of course, immediately he goes, well, here's what I think. I'm like, God dang, okay. God, I don't know what else I can do,
I had a lady, and sometimes we just got to accept them for who they are. I had that house in Apple Valley. I actually told her I thought it was worth more money than what she was thinking. And she told me from the beginning that it was too high. We weren't going to get it. And then we got multiple offers, and we ended up getting $7,000 more than that. But we had 2 of the offers were competitive in price. One of them was an FHA offer with somebody in our office that I trusted and knew and the loan officer was Todd. So I had a lot of faith in that, and I talked her into it. Or I had her talked into it. She called her brother-in-law. Her brother-in-law told her she was crazy for taking an FHA offer. They're going to make you fix all this stuff. They're going to do all of that. And then I just like Lonnie, I said, hey, how many FHA deals has your brother-in-law been involved with? Mm-hmm. Right. And I said, I think knowing the agent, knowing the lender, having open communication far outweighs any risks that we're taking with the FHA. So what happened? Then she was worried after the $7,000 higher that we weren't going to appraise. End of the day, no FHA conditions, house appraised. I still haven't gotten an attaboy out of her yet. Still haven't gotten it. Still haven't gotten the Tom, everything you said was true.
Good job, Tom.
And you know what? I'm not going to. So, yeah. Okay, we got 6 minutes, and I'm going to tell you something that's happened to me a couple times, and I have to learn to ask this question differently. So I have a couple in front of me. Maybe they're same sex or maybe they're different sex. It doesn't really matter. But then I ask the question, are you married or single? to them. And sometimes the reason is I have two single people that when I ask the question, are you guys married? No. But I need to learn to expand on that question, because in both cases this has happened to me. They thought that I meant, are you married to each other? I need to ask if you're married to anybody, because the two recent, are you married? No, they're not. And then when the title work comes back, one of them is married to somebody else. They're not married to each other, but one of them is still married. So I'm learning to expand. One of the things I've learned over the last couple of weeks, because that happened to me, bang, bang. So, yeah, so
I put in
there
the
you go.
chat. My thought is, I always say, "Oh, I do need your marital status. What are we doing? What are we doing here?"
Yeah, so.
And if they say married, and then the other one says single, but then like, well, we got a problem here. Hold on, you're single, you're married. What are we doing? You know, and then it brings in another conversation. But I always ask
It's
that.
not, yeah. And again, it's not a problem, right? It doesn't really affect the deal, but it does affect how we fill out the paperwork. So,
yeah.
Absolutely.
Awkward.
All right. 4 minutes. Oh yeah, it is awkward when you got to go back and have the conversation. It's like, yeah, hey, Jake, the title work came back and it says that you're married.
And then my girlfriend sitting next to me says, "What?" I'm just kidding. No, I had one of those come up a couple of weeks ago. I asked her if she was married, and she said no. And then they pulled it, and they said she is married. And she goes, "Oh yeah, well he's in jail." I said, "Oh, okay, that makes it much better, because now we have to work through that whole thing."
Yeah.
So
yeah, on our questionnaires, I ask legal marital status. And then because I have a client that I'm working with right now, she referred to him as her husband. Her last name on Facebook is the same as his. No reason to believe they're not married. Then she fills out paperwork and she says, single. Oh, and my last name is actually this. Like, okay. So they've been together, 12 years. Common law is not a thing in the state of Missouri in regards to legalities of real estate and things. So they're signing documents as single people, but together. But it can definitely be a weird one, because there are so many people, I mean myself included, who are in long-term relationships, and everyone just assumes that you did the things in the courthouse and maybe you haven't yet, or they're not going to, or whatever.
So here's one that you can pull your hair out on this one. Nanette's got a client that we represent them on the listing, and she's a lot of work, hard on equipment. Her house has been under contract multiple times and flipped multiple times. And now we finally, looks like we got the deal that's going to closing. It's an in-house deal. Love it, love it, love it. And then one of the first questions Nanette asked her, and by the way, she's complained about us multiple times to other people. We have common friends. And yet we've brought her multiple contracts and we've done all these open houses. Yeah, but Nanette wasn't there for all of them, just that kind of person. So anyway, one of the early questions was, hey, did you get a quitclaim from your ex-spouse? Oh, no, I didn't need one. Well, what do you mean you didn't need one? I bought the house right after our divorce was finalized. So that conversation was clear. It was had months ago, right? Well, now we're really close to closing. And guess what? The information she gave us was inaccurate. She knew it was inaccurate. She just didn't want us to bother the former spouse. So now we're in a situation where we can't convey title because we have this spouse that has a marital interest in the property. She actually bought the house while she was still married and didn't get a waiver of marital interest. So now this guy has to sign the deed or a quitclaim deed for us to be able to close. Well, guess what? They hate each other. I can see why he hates her. And he's not signing shit. So there we go. Now I'm trying to figure out how to bribe him.
Yep. That's the next stage.
Did I mention the people are the hard part of the business?
Yes, they are. They are the hard part. But I do have to remind myself that I do this every day and they only do it so many times in their life. So, but I get it. So, okay, guys, you've been a great class today. Yeah.
Thanks, Tom. You're a great teacher.
Great job, Tom. It's good.
All right.
See you guys.
Thank you. Everybody have a good day.
Have a
Good
good
job,
day.
Tom.
Yep.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.